Hey guys, welcome to my channel, another episode of Vet Diary, and today we'll be looking at the anatomy of the mandible. This is the position of the mandible in a live animal, the bone that make up the lower jaw of the skull. It is divided into two halves, which is incompletely separated by a mandibular symphysis. A mandibular symphysis. The mandible is made up of the body and the rami. Now, the body is made of two portions. The anterior portion which extends from this part to this part, and the posterior portion which extends from this part to this part. The body forms the horizontal part of the mandible. So from this point to this point, it makes up the body. Now, the anterior portion of the body of the mandible is divided into two surfaces. We have the lingual surface and the labial surface. The lingual surface, as the name implies, forms an attachment or is in contact with the tongue, while the labial surface in contact with the lips. The lingual surface is concave, as you can see. The labial surface is convex. Now, the posterior portion of the body of the mandible is divided into two borders, two surfaces, and two extremities. The two surfaces, we have the medial surface and the lateral surface. We have two borders, the dorsal border, which forms attachment for the teeth, and then the ventral border. And of course, we said it has two extremities for the posterior portion of the body of the mandible. Now, looking at the rami, it's the vertical portion of the mandible. The vertical portion extends from here to here. It consists of a coronoid process, a projection. This projection is called the coronoid process, and a condylar process. In between the coronoid process and the condylar process, we have the mandibular notch. The mandibular notch. So the coronoid process of the mandible, the condylar process of the mandible, then we have the coronobular notch. We have the neck of the mandible here, the neck of the mandible, and going inwardly, we have the mandibular foramen. Mandibular foramen. And of course, there's mylohyoidus fossa, which forms an attachment for the mylohyoidus muscle. Then there's mesenteric fossa here, which forms an attachment for the masseter muscle. There's an important structure in the mandible. Most important structure in the mandible is the mental foramen.